Hey, what's up guys? This is Ryan Hicks. Wanted to make this very quick video to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that we see as it relates to social media for franchise brands. So there's three things in particular that I want to talk about today. The first one relates to tools. So the tools that a lot of franchise organizations have as it relates to social media are oftentimes either not present or underused, and a lot of that stems from the fact that franchise organizations have enough to do. Franchisees are busy and they do not want to go log into another dashboard or another portal, but used correctly and appropriately, it can actually be automated in most cases or in a lot of cases, and it could really save a lot of time and heartache as it relates to monitoring. So what I want to do is I just want to draw us the kind of a simple structure here. So let's say that you've got this box here, and this represents corporate. And this is the franchisor. And so you've also got franchisees in different regions. Maybe you've got multi-unit franchisees that own a block of stores here, franchisees, etc. So with the available tools and technology, you can actually have tools to schedule content and monitor content and do all types of neat stuff here at the corporate level. And then also to be able to set the access permissions specific. Maybe this guy doesn't want to have posts automatically hitting his page without approval rights, but this group over here doesn't care whatsoever. And then when these guys log in, they can see specifically everything connects into one spot for their little hub. And so setting up these dynamics in the structure to be able to monitor, to be able to schedule content, and to be able to have a simple experience, to have a dashboard and a database and a library of imagery and of videos to where it's literally just one click, grab, publish. There are a lot of tools available to make this a very easy experience, and it blows my mind that, even brands that are very kind of forward-thinking and advanced, it blows my mind that a lot of brands just miss this as it relates to tools. The second biggest problem, or not necessarily challenge, but the second biggest mistake that I see brands making relates to the national content strategy. So what happened is some of these tools came along and dashboards came along, like your Hootsuites and your Sprouts and et cetera, and then there were born franchise-specific tools like Rallyo. There's also Sochi and a couple of others. Whenever these tools came along, some brands obviously got smart and realized that they should go have access to all of their pages so that they could monitor and also provide assets and help and support and all of that. And so some brands have tools here at corporate. Oftentimes they don't provide them at the Z level because at the end of the day, franchisees don't need another thing to manage. But what's happening is brands are getting, okay, we need to make sure that we have content hitting all of our pages. And so this national content strategy is really talking at audiences rather than engaging with them and talking to them. And so what we see is brands putting out sometimes content that's sometimes good, but it's not really authentic, it's not really engaging. And so what they're doing is they're hitting multiple posts per week down to all of the pages, and it's the same thing hitting all of the pages, and maybe it's you have a couple of photo shoots and it's just kind of this very pristine and the photos look good, but they don't feel authentic. And so there's no real audience building, there's no real engagement, and what happens is kind of you look at it and say, yeah, well, we're not getting much ROI out of this social stuff. Well, that's because you're not building any type of community. And so this national content strategy really needs to be rethought for most, like 90% of brands out there, maybe a little bit more. And a lot of brands look at it and say, hey, maybe it's not worth it for us to put time and energy to build our brand on social media. In 2019, if you're saying that, I'm going to just make this guarantee and this promise that in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, you're going to wish you built your brand presence in 2018 and 2019 compared to in the future, because there's a lot of value in building your brand and your audience and your presence on social, especially now before it gets drastically more expensive in the future. So it's really important for brands to really reconsider their national content strategy. And the third and the granddaddy of them all, and the biggest mistake that we see as it relates to social media, is when it comes to local content strategy. And so what I mean by this is having locally relevant, locally engaging content is the very best way to get long-term growth, long-term relevancy, and to build engagement and community. And if you're doing so imagine if you're here at this local level, or let's use this one as the example. Let's say this right here represents Dallas, Texas, and this one right here is Tennessee, and this one right here is Atlanta. You want hyper-specific content, and there needs to be at least, I would say, between 2 and 4 pieces of local content per week hitting these pages. And so there needs to be highlighting Team Member Tuesdays and all of these types of things that actually display the people in your locations and the employees of your stores and the customers or the members of your stores. You need to be telling that local story multiple times per week, over and over and over and over. And there's a lot of, it's actually quite easy to do, but there's a lot of work that goes behind that, and on top of having that locally relevant content, so knowing what to put on the pages and what to say, there's also the element of making sure that each location has specifically relevant to that location content. And then there's the whole element of how do I make sure and guarantee that I'm growing both the following, that's an F, and the engagement, that's an E. So you want to make sure that not only you have the relevant content, but that you're growing the following and the engagement. And so how that happens and occurs at a location, you might have 1% of your system that is good at this stuff, and oftentimes they're overpaying a local agency to do that, or they have their PR firm will also go tack that on and add it. 99.9% of the time, brands aren't actually creating that local level content and engagement that they need to. And so with Rallyo, a company called Rallyo, recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine. I had business development at Rallyo, but recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine as one of the top marketing suppliers in all of franchising. Rallyo will take over all of this at the franchisee level for a third of the cost, or probably less than that, of a traditional local agency. So we're looking around the price point of $300 per month, making sure that the content is hitting the pages, that we're crowdsourcing that content from the employees and the customers, making sure that the every social engagement is being responded to, every review is being responded to, and that there is a page growth strategy in place. And so that's basically how to solve this local level content strategy. We can talk a lot more about the tools, the national strategy, and the local content strategy, but Rallyo's unique technology plus local agency services and staff and strategists that you can leverage can really, really, really do some magic at creating that local level content, which will roll up at the end of the year. What if you were to be able to 3x your brand engagement and 3x your following in a year? That's super, super tangible if you're a chief marketing officer, or if you're a VP of marketing or a director of marketing. I would highly encourage you to share this, or tag, or just hit the little share button and send it in the messenger to one of your colleagues that need to see this, because this can have a significant brand lift. And now imagine, as you're lighting up these local pages, now imagine as that growth and engagement's occurring, not only the stories that you're farming and the culture that you're displaying online, but imagine now your ad agency or your internal team is able to run much more highly effective and targeted ads to the people who follow you. So it's not just about this organic strategy, which is really what I'm talking about here with this local content strategy, but think about how that plays into your greater campaign strategy and your greater ad fund call to action campaigns. So thank you very much for reviewing. Make sure that you're looking at the right tools, that you have the right national content strategy, and that you have the right local content strategy. My name is Ryan Hicks. Thank you very much for watching and listening today. Cheers.